we're going to bring in our wonderful, wonderful guest this evening. She's been so sweet and nice to come in. And we've been talking her up on earlier shows, and this is really, this will be really fabulous. We'll do our best not to get too far off topic. But there's just so many things that we could talk about.
But we should mention, we saw her, over a month ago at Skylight Theater in Los Feliz, and she gave her one-woman show.
Shakespeare and the Alchemy.
Yeah.
Gender. Oh, you're looking at me for the title. Shakespeare and the Alchemy of Gender. I actually knew it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Shakespeare and the Alchemy of Gender.
And we're all like geeking out, like, oh my god, ah! And it was like,
it was fabulous. Yeah. It was absolutely wonderful. So, I want to welcome Lisa Wolpe.
Lisa Wolpe.
From Los Angeles.
Oh, okay, great, thank you.
And then we'll
Awesome.
You get to be on the sofa.
Yay.
You get to be all comfy.
Yay.
Hi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Nice to be here.
Now, do you like to be called a drag king?
I do. I think I started calling myself that. You know, you write your own spin on your website.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to.
I think I'm an acclaimed drag king. That makes me happier than artists seeking funding.
Everybody's an artist seeking funding.
I know, but not everybody's a drag king. Many people
No,
are.
that's true. Not everybody is a drag
And then within that, not everybody does it for the same reasons.
Absolutely.
So I usually just do it on stage. I don't know, people do this for the fun.
You don't do it over in Silver Lake, Friday nights at the Echoplex?
No. I don't know what my wife would do. But you know, it's kind of, I do it in Shakespeare, partly because that's just beautiful poetry and you get to play it all. But the reverberations in my identity are probably more important than theatrical play acting. You know, just the sense of being whoever I want to be.
Yeah.
And that reinforces who I was as a kid, just cross-dressing as a 7-year-old because it was freer. And whatever they say about tomboys, just a lot of girls like to crash around doing interesting physical things and having adventures.
Yeah.
I don't know when they think that's supposed to shut down, but this helps me never shut it down.
I wrestle with that, and I'm like, God, I'm glad I never had a daughter, because I don't know how I would have handled.
I know, some girls just pop out wanting everything in pink and...
What you doing, Chad?
Yes. I'm raising my hand to ask a question.
Yes, we already have a question.
I wonder if you would introduce what Lisa does and what the whole alchemy of gender and what the whole theatrical aspect is about. As an introduction point, please.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, because I don't know what it's about.
Well, Lisa's from the Los Angeles Women's Shakespeare Company. Are you the artistic director?
Yeah, and the founder. I started it 18 years ago. Well, it's been 18 years.
That's great.
It's multicultural, all female, although some guys have helped us from time to time. Last summer we did some cross-gender boys.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
We had a guy play Lady Macbeth, and we had a guy play Lady Bracknell in The Lisping Ernest.
But that's what people are used to. We're taught about Shakespeare, like, oh, the Yellow Glove, it was all men playing the women, you know.
Right.
But what you guys do is flip it, you know.
We flip it, and then I've been really fascinated recently. There was a book recently published called Sweet Swan of Avon, which wrote about Mary Sidney as a possible writer of the Shakespeare plays.
Right.
Which, when I wrote it, made complete sense to me, when I read it, rather, because for those of you who love Shakespeare, when you start to try to figure out why they say a gay man wrote the sonnets, it's because the sonnets are all written to a man with kind of sexual love.
Right.
But the plays aren't. The plays aren't a gay man's bent, in my opinion. And so then when I thought about a woman writing it, that made total sense to me. For a lot of reasons, but also because of her life. I mean, the plays are dedicated to her 2 sons, and the sonnets are dedicated to her 2 sons. But not going on about that, it's still kind of like, for me, to think that this beautiful writer was actually a woman helps me in terms of the cathedral of the English language being minted by a feminine, more associative mind. People say that Shakespeare was a collaborative writer. I think women tend to be more collaborative and associative and less finite about their bodies of work. It's just something about her being a great patron of literature and a metaphysical person who was an alchemist, a trained laboratory alchemist.
I wish people could have seen your show, because now I'm just like, oh, we're on the topic, we're going to stay on this for a while. It was like mind-blowing when you laid out the evidence about, hey, Shakespeare was probably this woman, this particular woman.
It's amazing. It's kind of exciting to me.
I think it's very exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Can't prove it, but you cannot prove that a man wrote Shakespeare. And there are now these two women that really have as much evidence as any of the other 6 or 7 guys. Amelia Bassano Lanier was a black Jewess,
Okay.
and Mary Sidney, who was the wealthiest and most educated woman in the world. So,
I mean, this is so crazy because it's like, okay, we're always trying to figure out if Jesus exists. I don't know, so I am. Like, did Jesus exist? But that was like, oh, that was way back then. But Shakespeare was not that long ago.
I know.
Why is this so hard?
It's
like,
such a dangerous mystery.
Is this a case of scratching out monuments like they tend to do with women who have like had power or have accomplished things?
Yeah.
And you mentioned that she probably was doing it herself. She was probably laying low and never associating her own.
She would have lost everything she had financially if she was known to be the playwright. Plus, her work is radical. Do you know what I mean? To say that God is in everyone, and women should defy their husbands and their fathers and marry whom they love, and dress as men and have adventures and use their minds equally and consider the qualities of mercy and love and. I mean, there was a great feminist leader on the throne, Queen Elizabeth. So there was permission for women's studies to go further than they'd ever gone before, but,
but
still,
not that far.
Not that far. It was very dangerous to be a woman. It still is. We still have about 10 million women a year go missing on the planet.
Yeah.
Right now, disappeared every year. And Mary Sidney invented disappearing ink, which I thought was a cool little alchemical accomplishment of hers.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so I figure we'll find all the work sooner or later.
She was a Renaissance woman. That overused phrase. I mean, she had time to do all kinds of stuff.
She was the original Renaissance woman.
I'm gonna do some alchemy over here, and then I'm gonna do some ink over here. Yeah. And then my third arm is writing like these plays over here, like,
Yeah.
But you have to have money. She was rich, right?
Very rich.
That gives you a little bit more leeway to pursue those sorts of things and have the kind of time that it would take to write things like that.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the one thing people say this Stratford boy could have written the plays. But really? Because did he speak 5 languages? Could he really translate Italian and Hebrew and German and French? And could he really turn a phrase like that? Did he really know 800 tropes of rhetoric? Do you know what I mean? Because he didn't go to school, as far as we know. I mean, how did we know that? Whereas she was completely tutored and traveled and, given every advantage, and that helps. We all would be helped by spending more time in, in our pursuits.
Your show was convincing. It was great. It's like the gospel. You want to run out and tell people.
That's funny.
Oh, guess what? And so I had always wondered, what does academia say about this? Like, is Shakespeare so sacred that they don't want to hear this? Like,
no, I was. I'm sort of the maverick at the Shakespeare conference. I talk a lot about gender and multiculturalism because it's mostly all white, mostly male dominated.
Sure.
And I've been going for 15 years. It's the Shakespeare Theatre Association.
I've ever been to,
But it's
regardless of topic.
changing.
It tends to be that way.
Can be.
Yeah.
So you'd think, especially in this realm.
Right.
But I was there 2 months ago, and they embraced this wholeheartedly.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, there were 51 artistic directors from 150 companies, and they all heard me out, and were very moved.
Good. But then is anybody doing this work? Like, are they writing papers about it, or?
A lot of the Shakespeare work is just a rehash of what's done before.
Yeah.
Because there's a tradition of how to do, like you guys were saying, this is how you do Caliban. You get a well-hung black man, and then you put a coconut over his groin, and you say you're not exploiting him.
Right.
What? What are you exploiting exactly then? What are you doing?
What are you doing?
I was such a, how should I say this? I did not have a lot of arts and theater education when I left, high school and went to college, got involved in theater. So when I read The Tempest the first time, I didn't have a lot of knowledge of how the play was done. So of course we're always told, go look and see how other people do it. And I would look up all the old versions of the plays and find the old photos, and I'm like, why is Caliban always a black man? So this wasn't a theory class where somebody was telling me, and look how this is about colonialism when Caliban is clad. It was just like, Caliban is other. Caliban is scary because he wants to rape Miranda. Big black man is scary. Okay, great. This is stupid.
Right.
Is that you grew up in the South really doesn't. This is not new knowledge to you, really.
Yeah. They're gonna
That
get
should
you.
be presented this way.
They're gonna get you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, that's why I think having an all-female company is different. Like when we do Othello, and it's Fran Bennett slapping Virginia Ness. it's not the same as Larry Fishburne slapping some girl. Do you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
not the
right.
same. The audience questions it more. They go, why didn't you speak to her? Why didn't you listen?
Right.
But with a guy, it's just sort of like, well, you had a testosterone moment. That's normal. We just want to look at you kind of in an exciting sexual way while you do it.
Right.
But in the playing out of it through female actors, you get to the cost of the deceit. You know, you get to the cost of believing the boys' club instead of having a marriage of integrity.
Yeah.
And then you're challenging. Really, with our audiences, they were more angry at Desdemona with her turn the other cheek crap. Do you know what I mean? They were more angry at Desdemona. They wanted her to have healthy resistance. They didn't want her to roll over.
Right.
And they thought she was being foolish. They didn't understand the Christian mentality, which is basically turning the other cheek is you can either turn yourself toward love or towards fear, but you can't do both at the same time, so choose. You know, but that's if you really believe in the eternal and temporal things don't matter, you know, and it's all about the hereafter.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things about doing Shakespeare is the spiritual essence and what is your idea about the hereafter. And the other is that your essence is so spiritual that how can you even hate people because of their gender or their race, because who they are just radiates from them on the soulful level, which is what they're mostly talking about. You know,
Yeah.
to be or not to be is not really about just suicide, but it's about what happens after death. Fundamentally, that's kind of what that play's about.
Absolutely.
And in that there are ghosts walking in and out of the play, you really get it. It's like, oh, it's not about this at all. It's about if I do this,
Other
then
things,
what?
yeah.
But you can't really get people to think about that these days. You know, it's hard to do a Hamlet
that
that's
deep
really about the
thinking.
hereafter.
Yeah.
It's usually more about the personality or the handsomeness of the boy playing Hamlet. Which is, you know, kind of nice. At least if you don't have a boy playing Hamlet, you can hear some of the lines of frailty, thy name is woman. You go, wait a minute, what's this crazy misogyny? We can look at that. Or, you know.
It's true, though, yeah.